They gathered around the heavy oak dining table, like a council ready to pass judgment. My wife Eleanor sat to my left, her posture rigid, eyes fixed intently on the patterned tablecloth, carefully avoiding any glance my way. Across from me, her mother, Beatrice, folded her arms tightly over a worn cardigan that smelled faintly of mothballs and authority. Eleanor's father, Walter, retreated into the shadows of his faded blazer, a silent spectator as always, content to watch the family's schemes unravel without interference. Eleanor's younger sister, Violet, barely looked up from her phone, her thumb scrolling with practiced indifference, detached from the tense atmosphere. "You're one of us now," Beatrice declared with the weight of a final verdict, her voice cold and unyielding, as though sealing a binding contract. "It's only right that you contribute half your income to the family pool." Eleanor nodded quietly, her movements automatic, like a marionette pulled by invisible strings. "It's fair," she whispered, her voice hollow, merely echoing her mother's demand. I let out a soft, measured laugh, and for a fleeting moment, uncertainty flickered across their faces. "Reasonable," I said, my tone calm and unervingly composed. "If I'm part of the family, then I assume I have equal access to the family's assets as well." Their expressions darkened, confusion creeping in. They didn't grasp the meaning behind my words yet. Not now, but they would soon enough. I had once loved Eleanor with everything I had, back in the brisk autumn days of our medical school years. She was a radiant spark of warmth in a world of relentless study. Her laughter was my beacon through long nights of exams, her eyes lighting up as she indulged my awkward biochemistry jokes. We huddled over textbooks until dawn, fueled by steaming mugs of coffee and a shared dream of a life built together. I believed in our marriage as a true partnership, a union of equals forging a future side by side. But when I said, "I do," I hadn't realized I was marrying not just Eleanor, but her entire family. They were a well-oiled machine, with weekly gatherings, pooled finances, and a labyrinth of unspoken rules cloaked in polite smiles and quiet coercion. At first, I bent to their expectations, eager to belong. But the cracks started to show. It began with a missing $300, a quiet withdrawal from my account to what they called the family fund. Eleanor told me it was her mother's idea, a symbol of unity and trust. Exhausted from the relentless grind of residency, I let it slide, but the withdrawals multiplied. Each month, more money vanished, not from their accounts, only mine. I unknowingly funded Walter's hip surgery, Violet's mounting bills, and Beatrice's new granite kitchen island, all framed as my responsibility, my duty to the family. And Eleanor, my Eleanor, went along with it, her silent compliance a subtle yet devastating betrayal. "You're one of us," she'd say, but I wasn't her equal. I was their resource, a pawn in their carefully orchestrated game. I never raised my voice or confronted them head-on. Instead, I smiled, schemed, and waited. Over months, I quietly moved the pieces they couldn't see. I placed our home in a trust under my sole control, rewrote my will to redirect my assets, and diverted my salary into a new account under an LLC I created. I documented every transaction, every demand, screenshots, recordings, affidavits from co-workers who overheard the family's coercion. I consulted lawyers under the pretense of estate planning, silently building an ironclad case. Every Sunday, I attended those dinners, paid my share, nodded politely, and waited for the right moment. That evening came. Beatrice repeated her demand, fingers tapping the table with ruthless rhythm. "Half your earnings. We've all made sacrifices. Now it's your turn." Eleanor sipped her wine, her eyes distant, complicit in her silence. That was her final betrayal. I leaned forward, my voice steady, cold with resolve. "If I'm family, I want my share. Full access to the fund. Complete records of every deposit and withdrawal. A say in how the money is spent. Isn't that what family does?" Beatrice's eyes narrowed, voice sharp as a blade. "That's not how it works." "It is now," I said, sliding a folder across the table. She opened it, her face draining of color as she scanned a meticulous ledger, names, dates, amounts, a damning chronicle of their exploitation. "Where did you get this?" she stammered. "I kept my own records," I replied. Unlike yours, mine tell the truth. Eleanor's hands trembled, her voice breaking. You went behind my back. No, I said, locking eyes with her. I stood up to yours. Violet finally looked up from her phone, muttering, "This is insane." I turned to Eleanor, voice steady but firm. I gave you chances. I asked questions. You gave me lies. We were supposed to support each other. She protested faintly. No. No, I interrupted. You were helping yourselves. I revealed the final document, a separation agreement I had drafted, backed by irrefutable evidence of their financial manipulation, strong enough to withstand any legal challenge. Beatrice's voice trembled with fury and fear. You'd ruin your marriage over money? I'm not ruining anything, I said quietly. I'm taking back what's mine. The fallout was immediate. Eleanor sobbed, Beatrice raged, and Walter remained mute. I walked away that night, leaving the house behind without a backward glance. Within a month, the divorce was finalized, swift, legal, unassailable. The courts took a dim view of their orchestrated financial scheme, especially with the mountain of evidence I presented. They lost everything they had taken from me, plus penalties for their deceit. Eleanor tried to apologize, claiming she hadn't truly seen what was happening. But she had. She had watched, agreed, and enabled it. I don't forgive silence that breeds betrayal. Revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's silent, methodical, patient, and precise. You don't strike while they watch. Instead, you smile as they plot, then hold up a mirror to reveal their own downfall. I sleep peacefully now. No more Sunday dinners, no more disappearing funds, no more games. They called it family. They claimed family doesn't bleed you dry. I bled them back, legally, quietly, thoroughly. They demanded half my life. I reclaimed every last fragment, leaving them to face the consequences of their own betrayal.